Recording has started.
Okay, thank you for joining us today at 12:01. This is the last retirement board of 2020. It is Tuesday at noon and a minute, so it's 12:01 p.m. We will then look at our agenda here, and seeing no public floor comment, we will look to approve the minutes from Thursday, December 10th. Is there a motion to approve those retirement board meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Any final discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried. Seeing no correspondence, we will then move to old business. And we were going to be looking for a motion after any discussion to approve the issue date and no pre-proposal meeting. So just a discussion about the RFP and potential actions. So anything to update us on? Any updates on this, Jason?
Yes. You all should have. It's still called draft at this point because it is in Betsy Dupuy's hand right now. I worked with Natalie just to get solicitor review of it before Monday. So I would look probably for the motion on this to be pending solicitor review. But that said, all of the date information has been updated, contact information, and removed the pre-proposal meeting, and instead of that, opened up a window for anybody who is bidding to ask questions through January 15th. With answers by January, I believe, 21st or 2nd, and then they would still have about 2.5 weeks to finish their proposals before submitting with the deadline of February 5th. And that is all in that draft right now.
Okay. I think we're, from Margaret's standpoint, from Betsy, would we have a time frame or a timeline on when she would be able to receive that back from us?
I wasn't included on the emails to Betsy, so I need to talk with her about when that gets taken care of. I think if it just went to Natalie to Betsy this week, there's a holiday in here, I'll do my best to try to put it on the top of her list.
Yeah, I do apologize, Margaret. That was in a path up with some other questions with Natalie going back and forth, and then I forgot to CC you when I was asking for that approval.
It's okay, but I'll get it to the top of her list.
Okay, thank you, Margaret. Any other changes or discussion on the RFP? If not, we can look for a motion pending solicitor review. Any other discussion or questions on it?
No.
No.
Okay, all right. Would there be a motion then?
So moved.
Second.
All right. Got Mark.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Okay. Presentation of fees paid for this year, 2020. And we know Jason sent that out. And any other, maybe we could walk through it?
Sure. And so this was during the last meeting we had. Mike, I believe you actually brought this up about reviewing the fees paid through 2020. And so just the important thing to note here is we haven't received the invoices yet for fourth quarter from the investment managers and Wilmington Trust. So what I did include these were all the months when the fees were actually paid. So what was paid in January would have been for fourth quarter 2019 for the investment managers. So, but we don't anticipate those amounts to be much different in January of 2021 here. So this will give you, these were the monies actually paid in 2020, but not necessarily all for the fiscal year 2020, if that makes sense. So, but again, we don't anticipate much difference in the January fees from the investment managers. So, the total at this point is just over $480,000, almost $481,000 on the year in fees. And I did, per a request from Commissioner Higgins, include the annual total of all the investment of each item there. So of each, the investment consultants, the custodian, and the actuary, and then with the grand total for the year as well.
All right, Jason, this is great stuff. You have a I don't know if you just had it offhand by chance, but do you have the 2019 one by chance?
Ooh, I might. Let me see here. One second, I got a lot of screens open. Doesn't appear I do right next to me here, but
That's okay. I was looking for them as well. I couldn't find them anywhere.
I do have a comment on the topic. Is that all right to mention?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so we were talking about beer earlier, but now I'll do a little bit of whining. I understand what CS McKee and Twin and Emerald and Corn Ferry do for us, but I'm under the impression that Wilmington Trust is basically making journal entries and doing a few hours a quarter of work, and yet we're paying them about $79,000 for that. Can we shop that around at all? Is there some way to eliminate it? It just seems like a lot of money for maybe not a whole heck of a lot of work.
yeah, I think that's something we can look into. That might also be something, depending on how the investment consultant pans out, that might be a conversation we can have with them at that point as well. You're right to a degree that a portion of what they do is is really just, I emailed them to transfer funds to cover pension payments. They do house all of the investments in one location, so that's the one nice part about it is we can see everything in one picture, all the balances at one time. So that's a plus. Whether it's worth the cost is another conversation too, or is this conversation. But on the other, but I do some of the journal entries. So I do the trust income journal entries and different things too. So they're not even really doing those.
Right. Right. Everybody else is doing a fair bit of work.
Yeah.
And it just seems like Wilmington really doesn't have that much to do anymore. And a lot of what they perform is just computer software in the background. And even that's not revolutionary.
Yeah. I think that's probably accurate. And that might, like I said, it might be something that we can, when we talk with, if we bring on an investment consultant, however that shakes out, we might be able to find out. I'd have to do a little bit more digging to make sure we don't need a custodian for any particular reason, that there's not some requirement in the pension law somewhere for that first. But then from there, figure out what to do with the fee. And maybe there are services that they do provide that we haven't taken advantage of that's included in that fee that could also be helpful. Potentially as well. So there's a couple of things that I can look into for sure.
All right. When you look at the grand total, a fair bit of money for maybe not lots of actual work.
Yep.
Especially if you're doing some of it.
Agreed. I can look into those though.
Thanks.
Yep.
I also think, so we typically get a PDF report from one of the investment managers from around the state. And I could probably dig up the one that I got last year in 2019. I believe we are either the only county that has Wilmington Trust or there's only two counties that work with Wilmington Trust in this area. So that would suggest that they may not be giving us the best bang for our buck. But I agree with the controller saying, which is to focus on the RFP, see what comes out of that, and then make some modifications. I don't even know who Wilmington Trust is. I couldn't pick them out in a lineup. I mean, we've always kind of worked with them, but I absolutely agree that if we can get a better value somewhere else, let's look into it. Absolutely.
Thanks. Oh, yeah. We need to move forward with the RFP first.
Okay. Yeah, I can certainly look into some of those things though too.
We don't have any action on the new business for the fee presentation. Any other items or any other thoughts before we look for a motion to adjourn? This would be the last retirement board meeting of the calendar year, and the market is going to close on Thursday at 4 o'clock, I should say, right? 4 o'clock. So we have another few hours of trading, but I mean, the stimulus bill was signed. They're doing the $2,000 rigmarole right now, but if the market's closed where they're at, or near about where they're at, our ARC might be coming down a few $100,000 next year. We'll wait and see, but it's looking good right now in that regard.
Yeah, it is. I think I shared last meeting that we had made gains back over and above what we lost in that 2-week period, really in March. Some of that was because of the $1 million investment we made at that time. That certainly helped us pick up some of the market recovery, but also just because of the way the market performed really from end of April on, for our account anyway, really recovered plus on that balance. And I'll be happy to share. I can share that balance, just send it out to everybody on Monday, because I don't know if it'll be updated on Friday, but I can send that balance at that time just so y'all have an idea of where it's at. But it was hovering around 128 million, and prior to the March downturn, it was 121. So we went and we lost down to about 89 million in that 2-week period. So we lost a significant portion. So we recovered. The account recovered very well. The investments recovered very well from that point.
And as a member, especially kudos to Emerald. They've been performing super well during the recovery.
Yes, that's certainly been a big portion. And you recall from PFM's, Twin and CS McKee are really duplicating a lot of some of their work anyway. So so it was really a lot of Emerald's investment and work during that time.
Okay. Any final discussion on this investment fees? Okay. Hearing none, we would look then for a motion to adjourn the retirement board meeting.
Motion to adjourn at 12:14.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. See everybody. Take care.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year if we don't see you.
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy holidays, everybody.